There was a time when the soda aisle was filled with names you don't see anymore. Crystal Pepsi, Tab, Surge. Drinks that turned heads back in the day. Some became instant favorites. Others disappeared just as quickly as they arrived. So, settle in, and let's look back at the sodas that brightened our days, now living on only in memory, and maybe in the taste of childhood they left behind. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, Coca-Cola tried to grab attention with a bold citrus soda called Rondo.
Rondo's lightly carbonated, so you can slam it down fast. Rondo has a clean citrus taste that's never sticky. Rondo.
Marketed as the Thirst Crusher, its commercials showed rugged guys cracking open a can after sports or outdoor adventures. What made it stand out was the slogan and the yellow can that promised a bigger punch than the typical lemon-lime drinks of the time. Rondo even had a diet version, but despite the heavy marketing, it never quite held its ground against the bigger names. For those who tried it, its advertising and that tangy citrus flavor are hard to forget. In the early days of soda history, Nehi stood out with its bold, fruity flavors. It first appeared in the 1920s with grape, orange, and peach, and in 1955 the brand was purchased by Royal Crown Cola. That move kept Nehi alive for many years, and by the 1970s it was still a familiar choice in stores and diners across America. What set it apart was the grape flavor, rich, sweet, and instantly recognizable. Unlike other fruit sodas, Nehi carried a sense of childhood nostalgia. For many, it became the taste that brings back memories of simpler times.
Tap, tap, cola, what a beautiful drink. Tap, tap, cola, for beautiful people.
Another memorable drink from Coca-Cola was Tab, their first diet soda, launched back in 1963. Unlike other colas, Tab was marketed mostly toward women, with ads that promised a slimmer figure if you kept tabs on your weight. Through the 60s and 70s, its pink can became a familiar sight, and many remember the unique taste that didn't quite match Coke or Pepsi, but had a flavor all its own. Even after Diet Coke took over in the 1980s, Tab held on with a loyal following for decades. For many, the very mention of Tab still brings back memories of the soda aisle in the 70s. In 1975, Pepsi tried something different with a drink they called Pepsi Light. It was a cola with a twist, literally. A splash of lemon flavor added in to make it taste lighter and more refreshing. For a while, it was promoted as the perfect drink after exercise, or when you wanted something less heavy than a regular cola. Many people still remember that slightly tart taste that set it apart from the usual Pepsi. By the early 80s, the lemon flavor was dropped, and without it, Pepsi Light quickly faded away. But for a brief time, it offered something truly unique in the cola aisle. Introduced in the 1970s, Mr. Pibb was created to take on the growing popularity of Dr. Pepper. It had a bold, spicy cherry flavor that quickly found its own fans, especially among younger people who liked trying something a little different from the usual colas. The commercials often leaned into the idea of Pibb being cool and a bit offbeat, and its unique flavor made it stand out in a crowded soda market.
The Coca-Cola Company has just done something great to the taste of Mr. Pibb, and there's only one word to describe it.
Later on, the drink would be rebranded as Pibb Extra, but the original Mr. Pibb still has a special place in soda history. Among the more unusual soft drinks of the past was Choc-ola, a chocolate-flavored soda that first appeared in the 1940s and gained popularity in the decades that followed. Its rich, sweet taste set it apart from the fruit and cola varieties everyone was used to. While it never became a nationwide giant, it earned a loyal following, especially across the Midwest, and anyone who ever tried Choc-ola has never forgotten that one-of-a-kind flavor. In the early 1990s, Pepsi tried to shake up the market with something totally different, Crystal Pepsi. It looked just like water, but promised the same cola taste, part of the big, clear craze of the time, when everything from soaps to drinks was marketed as pure and clean. The commercials were flashy, even featuring Van Halen's Right Now, and for a moment it felt like the future of soda. But the clear look didn't quite match the familiar cola flavor, and sales quickly fizzled out. Crystal Pepsi became a symbol of the 90s, bold, flashy, and gone in a flash. First launched in the 1960s, Fresca was different from the start, a grapefruit-flavored soda that stood apart from the usual colas and fruit drinks. It was sugar-free, calorie-free, and quickly found fans who wanted something crisp and refreshing without the heaviness of a regular soft drink. Over the years, new flavors like peach and black cherry were added, but it was that sharp grapefruit taste that made Fresca memorable. For many, it became the drink you reached for when you wanted something light and refreshing without the sweetness of a cola. The year 1985 brought one of the most controversial sodas ever, New Coke. Sweeter than the original, it was meant to challenge Pepsi, but fans of the classic flavor weren't having it. The backlash was so strong that only a few months later, the old recipe returned as Coca-Cola Classic. New Coke lingered for a short while after, but it quickly became known as one of the biggest cultural flops in soda history. By '97, shelves held one of the oddest drinks of the decade, Orbitz. Sold in clear bottles, it was filled with colorful liquid and tiny gelatin balls that floated in place like something out of a lava lamp. The unusual look grabbed attention right away, and kids often shook the bottles just to see the beads move around. The fruity taste, though, didn't match the excitement of how it looked, and most people tried it only once. Orbitz may not have lasted, but it remains one of the strangest experiments ever sold as a soda.
Surge. It's a fully loaded citrus soda with carbos. Feed the rush.
Coca-Cola shook up the soda aisle in 1996 with Surge, a bright green citrus drink aimed squarely at teenagers. It was heavily advertised with extreme sports, loud commercials, and plenty of attitude, trying to take on the popularity of Mountain Dew. The flavor was bold, sweet, and full of caffeine, making it a hit with kids who wanted something that felt rebellious. Surge wasn't just a drink, it became a cultural symbol of the late 90s in-your-face era before fading away in the 2000s. Aspen was Pepsi's unusual entry into the soda market in 1978, an apple-flavored soft drink at a time when cola, lemon lime, and orange dominated the shelves. The ads promised a crisp, refreshing taste, often showing skiers or lodge settings to give it a cool, outdoorsy image. For some, the flavor was a pleasant change of pace, lighter and cleaner than the usual sodas. But novelty can only take a drink so far, and by 1982, Aspen was gone. When the 2000s rolled around, Coca-Cola gave Sprite a twist with Sprite Remix, a clear, caffeine-free soda in tropical and berry flavors. It kept the crisp Sprite base, but added sweeter notes that made it popular with younger crowds. Flavors like Tropical Remix and Aruba Jam stood out for a few years, with bright ads full of music and color. By 2005, the line was discontinued, remembered as a short-lived but fun spin on Sprite.
We got the juice, we got a hit, we got the blast.
Pepsi launched Slice in 1984 to take on 7-Up and Sprite, with the promise of 10% real fruit juice. Lemon lime was the most common, but orange, grape, and even apple joined the lineup, making it feel like something new on the shelf. For a while, the bright cans and ads gave Slice plenty of attention, but the juice claim was quietly reduced. Sales slipped, and by the early 2000s, it was replaced by Sierra Mist. Grapette first appeared in the 1940s and quickly became a favorite grape soda across much of America. It was sold in small glass bottles with a clean, sweet flavor that made it especially popular with kids. The brand grew quickly, but by the 1970s, it was pushed aside as larger soda companies took over more shelf space. Grapette's story reflects the battle between local favorites and national giants, remembered fondly by those who grew up with it. In 1988, the makers of 7-Up tried something unusual with a soda called 7-Up Gold. Unlike the clear lemon lime drink everyone knew, this version was darker in color and had hints of spice, cinnamon, and a touch of apple. The taste wasn't what people expected from 7-Up, and sales never took off. By 1989, it was gone, remembered today as one of the brand's strangest experiments. I'd love to hear in the comments which sodas were your favorites, and maybe some I didn't mention. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching and for being part of the channel. See you in the next one.